cool weather attire on. I'm Jim Byers along with Rodney Nelson. Rodney, it's going to warm up, I think, tomorrow, so I think the long sleeves will go back in the closet. But for today, it's low 60s, I think, Fahrenheit, fast track, overcast skies. Nice, interesting taste of fall. After all, it is the fall meeting of champions for American quarter horses. And we got 11 races today. We'll have 11 tomorrow, but our first post will bump over to 6:35 Central tomorrow, so be sure to watch for that. The Grade 1 refrigerator coming up tomorrow as the featured event. But, Rodney, let's get right on to the first to give this as much time for our analysis as we can. First race, a high five wagering race. The carryover's up to $23,345 in the super high five. This first race, I mean, I write little notes to myself. Some I don't want to share, some I will. This race was just incredibly tough for me to try to pick a winner. Maiden claiming 2-year-olds here.
Yeah, I mean, this is a tough one. Field of 10 right here. But, I got a couple shots that I've got picked in my top 3 selections to maybe help you take down that super high five. I'm going to take the number 1 on top, Barbie Wagon. Had a pretty good second, 2 starts back. I mean, this horse had run at Remington Park, moved over to Prairie Meadows after that. Like I said, had that good second, a couple starts back. We're going to see this horse has never run 350 yards, but I think that could stretch out and get it. It was a hard one to pick here. I went with the number 5. This is at 8-1 on the morning line as my second selection here. That's double down on me. This horse was running in some pretty good maiden claiming races. I mean, it was in for the $20,000 tag last time. It's been in for the $15,000 tag a few times. Now it drops down here to the $10,000 level. Does have one start at this 350-yard distance. That was 2 starts back at Ruidoso Downs. Finished 4th in that race. Ended up being disqualified and put, I think, last or second to last in that one. But still, I mean, was able to get up there and compete. Race before that was a solid second by a head. I mean, double down on me. I think it can get across that finish line first, or pretty close to it at those bigger tags, and now he's going to try here at the $10,000 level. I think there's a lot to like on the 5. And then I went with the horse on the outside. That's the 10 and CompuStar. 12-1 on the line for this one. Only 1 start, but, hey, those horses that Alonzo Neary has and Victor Urieta Jr. rides, you got to take a look at those. I memean, they win a lot out here. Have some pretty good success. When they don't win, they finish in the top 3, it seems, more often than not. And, with the horse 12-1 that Rick Lee put on that horse for the morning line, I'll play that horse in the first race. I mean, I think this race is wide open, and there's a lot of different ways that you can go.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's actually a pretty good race. I mean, as far as having a lot of contention in it, it's not one of those tough races where you just can't get behind anybody. It's just, I think there's a chance for some really good prices in here. I wrote a lot of notes about CompuStar, the 10, even though I used him 3rd. That race that he ran in a Delta was a Firecracker Futurity Trial. That's an open grade 2 event. He just absolutely walked out of the gate and then did not move a muscle, as they say. But it was a muddy track. It was sealed. Quarter horses don't really like, I don't think, getting stuff thrown in their faces. Naturally they line up and run. So you'll see them sometimes doing some nutty things when they're getting sand and or mud in their face because it's not something they get used to. I give this horse every opportunity to improve. Plus, this is his first time with Alonzo Neary, and Neary moves horses way up statistically when he gets them in his barn. That being said, I went with the 6, Los Halamitos. I love the name, but I also think this horse has a legitimate shot. Comes out of a Dash for Cash Futurity Trial where he had a severe amount of bumping at the start. The winner of that race, Rare High Dynasty, is a really good juvenile. I'm going to give Los Halamitos a shot over the 8 Rock City Kid, who kind of grades out as sort of a logical favorite. My note about him was he's kind of a mystery horse. Like, how good is he? He's never really been able to run his race. He's had issues, trouble in every race. He's been well beaten in every race, but they were theoretically much tougher levels of competition. We don't know what he is. If he runs his best race, he might win. So I went 6, 8, 10. Let's do a little swing over and show some video here. Nothing dramatic, but the second race, 350 yards. We're going to watch Mooney Tunes, who in this case is the 8 horse. And nothing dramatic here. The thing about this is when you watch a quarter horse race, remember the outside horses are farther up than sometimes they appear on the video. This horse looks like he's about 3 or 4 lengths back, but he actually never really gets totally involved here, but he's laying about 5th, 6th. He winds up beating 2 lengths. He's that horse way on the outside there. See, he winds up beating about 2 lengths. Not an overall wonderful performance, but this is a non-winners of 3 claimer tonight. That was an open $10,000 claimer against all comers. Much tougher race in my eyes. It wasn't a bad race, but just remember to compensate. The inside always look like they're doing a lot better than the outside. So I went with Mooney Tunes on top. Over the 5, I'm Here to Party. And the 1, Just Come a Running, part of the entry. So we switched the order up, and I went first, but we can do that, I guess.
That's all right. You know, I'll talk about those entries right there. The 1s, that's who I got picked on top. You got to pick 4th. I'm getting 2 for the price of 1 here. Just Come a Running, to me, was probably the better half of the entry here, but Bodie Dash, the 1A. I mean, you got to look. The horse has had some pretty decent finishes. Has run out here at Lone Star Park 7 times, 3 seconds and 2/3. Has a win at this distance. I don't know. I think there's a lot to like about both of those 1s right there. That's why I've got them on top. And then the other horse you didn't talk about, that's the number 5 horse, I'm Here to Party. I think this horse could have a good shot here. It does have a win over our track. Last time out, I mean, ran at 250. Finished 4th in that race, but, you know, was put in a good effort in that one. That was at the $5,000 tag, so we'll see. We'll see how, you know, staying straight here. I mean, had a good effort in 2 of those last 3 races. Let's see if I'm Here to Party can't get up there and have some fun here. Party a little bit after race number 2 in the winner's circle.
You know, it's start number 3 of the meet for I'm Here to Party. The first one, state-bred 5,000 claimers, well beaten. In fact, ran last. Improved dramatically last time. With a similar improvement, he could definitely move up. But like you, I don't have him on top. We'll see if Mooney Tunes can respond to this class drop. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. On to the 3rd. An allowance event here for Arabians, and they're going 7 furlongs. I'm sure we've run 7 furlong Arabian races before, but it seems like a little bit of an interesting distance here. These are non-winners of 2.
Yeah, I went with number 8, RB Whistling Dixie. This horse ran 2nd last time out, and that was the Texas Arabian Oaks out here. That was at the 1 mile distance, so let's shorten it up a furlong and see how RB Whistling Dixie does. I think this horse will be all right here in this spot. Nice to see this horse come back. I mean, this horse has already run out here twice this season. That first race got a 3rd out here, so I think that was a little bit of a tune-up, not having run since February. So 2 starts back. I said a pretty decent one last time out, finishing 2nd in that stakes race. I think RB Whistling Dixie gets the job done here. I went with the number 11, RB Laura, as my 2nd choice. This is another horse that came out of this horse came out of the Texas Lone Star Juvenile stakes race for these Arabian horses. That one was at 6 furlongs, so I was going to have to add a little bit of distance on. But the last 2 times this horse has run, has been at the 6 furlong distance on our track out here, has a 1st and a 2nd to show for it. I think RB Laura, hopefully this extra furlong is not going to be too much of a game changer for RB Laura, but we'll see if this horse can't get up there and hit the board. And then I got the number 3, the number 3 is my 3rd choice. That's RB Game Over. This is a horse I picked on top last time in the juvenile stakes. Didn't come through for me, but we'll see. Maybe that was just a little bit of a hop after that big win at Delta Downs in the debut for RB Game Over, and maybe we'll continue those nice ways here tonight in the 3rd. I mean, trained by Ernesto Torres, just like the 11 RB Laura, who you got to put him on your ticket, it seems like, if you're playing those tries in these Arabian races.
Yeah, it's actually been, I don't know, 2-3 weeks since Ernesto won an Arabian race, which is seemingly a record drought.
By the numbers he's due then, right?
Exactly. But like you and like Rick Lee, we are not picking him to win this particular race. I went with RB Whistling Dixie, too. I like the turn back in distance from a mile. I think this horse appears tractable enough to sit just off of it. What could be a pretty contested pace from those 2 outside horses. Plus the horse that beat RB Whistling Dixie last time, RB Kinetic, is 6 for 9 lifetime and would inhale this field most likely. And RB Whistling Dixie ran a really nice race, made a really nice bid last time, didn't sustain it. But she's a fairly solid pick for me. RB Lara, She'll get tested again up front just like she did last time, but she rates for me second. The thing about RB Game Over, you got to realize, October 3rd, high hopes for him. He flipped in the gate and was scratched. Came back October 17th. He was still a terrible actor at the gate, didn't want to load. He's just as a wise horseman once said about a mare of his that wouldn't take to the track for the post parade, I think he's got a strap loose. So we'll see if RB Game Over behaves a little better today. Fourth race. On to the fourth, maiden special weight, 2-year-old fillies going 3:30.
Yeah, I've got the 7 Miss Famous Eagle as my top choice here. Coming out of some races at Ruidoso Downs, some solid races out there. Last time I was out there was in a trial for the All-American. So his horse, definitely the connections feel like he's good enough to run in those races. He's going to come down here and try this maiden field here in Texas, which is going to be all right for her, I think. Miss Famous Eagle, I think, gets the job done here in race number 4. I got the number 6, Regal Eagle, as my second choice. Another one coming out from New Mexico, coming here to Texas for the first time at Lone Star. I think this horse can run good, too. I mean, if you count out that last race, take a look at how this horse has finished before that. 4 on the board finishes for Regal Eagle, just not that trial last time out. And then for my third choice, I'm going to go with the number 4 horse. That is Capo Tech. Bit of a shot here, 15-1. This horse hadn't run since April at Remington Park, but put together a good run there. That was in a maiden claiming race, so we'll see how these straight maiden races do for Capo Tech. But, hopefully with that couple races of experience, having that time off, we'll see if this horse can't get back into things here.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of fillies stepping in against their own gender in this heat instead of facing male rivals, including my top pick as well, Miss Famous Eagle. Very logical top pick. Did have some steadying issues and was bumped at the start last time at Ruidoso in an All-American trial, but I went back and re-watched that, and in my opinion, she was having a little trouble keeping up anyway, even when the trouble occurred, but faces a considerable drop today. Regal Eagle, second pick. Earlier in her 2-year-old campaign, looked like she might really develop into a futurity final type filly. Certainly seems to have kind of gone south the last couple, but could wake up with a switch to here. And then my third pick is on the inside, Our Famous Secret. Seems to have talent. Has started 3 times for 3 different trainers. Neri last time, Tony Cedillo 2 starts ago, Michael Joyner in her debut. Don't know what's up with that. Always seems to train well. If you go back months, has bullet works almost everywhere. Hasn't translated into the afternoon or evening. We'll see if it does here today. But that Dash for Cash trial that she was in produced 2 qualifiers for the consolation, as we used to call it, or now the juvenile Quick Chicks Dynasty and Mr. JJ PVC Eagle. So that was a pretty good dash, even though she was well beaten. Let's move on. 5th race, 870 here. This is an interesting race because you basically have a rerun of that September 27th race with God I'm Handsome and D.E. Wagon Strawfly. Veteran, I thought it was a coin flip between the 2 and the 4, and I went 4-2. See how you did.
I picked another horse on top of all of them. I picked the number 3, A Lot of Twister. You're talking about that race on September 27. I'm looking at this last race for A Lot of Twister that came on October the 3rd. That was the first time that this horse had run at this 870-yard distance. Finished second in that one, so I like that. I'm looking for an improvement. Seemed to take the turn well. I think A Lot of Twister can improve on that one. And, even at the shorter races, when this horse was running 550, this horse was hitting the board almost like clockwork, it seemed like, in 2020. So, I don't know. I think a lot of Twister. Now, I'm going to give the toss to him in this one right here. Second choice, I'm going to go with the 2. That's God I Am Handsome. That last race was a good one, no doubt about it. This horse has had a lot of experience running at this 870-yard distance. Has won 10 times out of 38 starts, including 3 out here on our track. Then I went with D.E. Wagon Strawfly as my third choice here. He was the one that won that race last time over God I'm Handsome. Jim, you know that I like to flip those horses sometimes when they race. I'll take them the next time out and flip them just to see how it turns out. Sometimes you get some better odds on them that way. But, this is going to be a fun race. I love these hook races. And, we've seen horses that have destroyed the field, and we've seen horses that have come to 100 yards out and just stopped. So these 870-yard races are going to be a lot of fun. I've got it 3, 2, and 4 here.
You know, I think the idea of mixing them up if they come right back and face each other the next time is a pretty good idea, because I think with these older veteran 870s, they tend to take turns beating each other, quite frankly. But that said, I really love the way D.E. Wagon Strawfly finished last time. Sometimes when horses come from behind in 870s, it's more a matter of the leaders tiring and the one-pace plotters just kind of look like they're rallying, and to a large degree, they're just sort of, the leaders are coming back to them. But in that last case, I thought both D.E. Wagon Strawfly and God I'm Handsome were legitimately closing ground. God I'm Handsome up the inside, and I got a gnat bothering me, and D.E. Wagon Strawfly circling up on the outside. And I'm going to go back with D.E. Wagon Strawfly. I mean, he's a really consistent old guy. I can't get past the 19 870-yard wins. How many horses in all of racing win 19 races in their career? I'm pretty sure it's a surprisingly low number. God I'm Handsome, though, he's a 10-time winner at the distance, ran a really nice race last time, and I think he will get a more aggressive ride this time. His last couple races, he's come from out of it, but Luis Vivanco's on him today, and it looks to me, and I've seen Luis ride for several years, he's one of our leading riders. He's a hard-sending rider. Speed all the way like a good quarter horse rider would be. And if you look down to when he's ridden this horse, he's tended to put him on the lead. And then for my third pick, I went with the 6 Frisco Jess, who used to be speedy. He hasn't shown it in his last couple races, but this one could range out to the lead. And Leon Bard does really well in these hook races. Keep in mind now, as we move on to the 6th, that the 6-shooter now begins with the 6th race, as we are down to 11 race cards now, compared to the 12 we have been running. 3,894, the 6-shooter carryover, 6th race. Really good allowance here for non-winners of 2.
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great race. I've got the number 9 and card 1 starter as my top selection here. It seems like this horse is going to be the one to beat here. Last time out was in the TQHA Sires Futurity. Ran third in that one by 3/4 of a length. One Incredible Hawk was the winner of that one right there. You saw him out here in the Dash for Cash this year. 3 starts back, Old South Futurity was second in that one just by a neck. I mean, this horse has been up there in some good races, has finished well in some good races. I mean, just look how this horse has done this calendar year. 7 starts, has 3 wins out of it, 2 seconds and 2/3. So that's 100% in the money for 1 card starter. And I really don't think I don't see anyone that's going to beat him here in this one. But my second choice is going to be the number 3 in Best Moonflash. Another solid horse. I mean, this horse has put together 3 consecutive second-place finishes in a row, all of them coming out Ruidoso Downs. The last 2 missed by just a neck in both of them. Those are in some solid trials up there, so I think you definitely got to look at Best Moonflash. And then my third selection is going to be the number 2 horse, a Relentless Sice. 2 starts back, this horse was a stakes winner. That was at Canterbury Park earlier this year. That was at 350 yards, tried 400 last time out in a trial race. Didn't do too hot in that, but, I think if you take a look at those first 3 races for this horse, they were all under 400 yards. 330, I think, is a logical spot for this horse to be. So we'll see how it turns out, but I've got it 9, 3, and 2.
Yeah, I used Relentless Sice 4th because I wasn't sure what to make of that restricted Minnesota quarter horse Futurity. He beat Bad Monkey by a head. Bad Monkey was I don't know if he was the beaten favorite, but he was the beaten fastest qualifier in the Dash for Cash Futurity here. And tonight is scheduled to run at Albuquerque in the Bank of America Championships in the 2-year-old race, and I think he should win that race if he's right. If that was a legitimate performance by Relentless Sice and not that All-American trial, then I should have him higher than 4th. But I went with card 1 starter. I mentioned this was a non-winners of 2 race. That's one condition. The other is non-winners of a race other than a maiden claiming starter or trial. And card 1 starter is the only horse that gets in on that extra condition. All the others are non-winners of 2, but he's won 3 races in his career. I do think he stands out as you do here. I do think, though, the Best Moonflash has an opportunity. He's drawn a little bit better than card 1 starter post position-wise. I think he's got a shot, but like you, I like the 9 over the 3, and I took the 5 Dash for Blood. First out since the Heritage Place Futurity in this spring at Remington. He didn't do much running there, but just making that race is quite an accomplishment. The pick 5 begins with the next race. Let's move on to the 7th. Texas bred claimers, non-winners of 2, and their pick 5 was not hit on Sunday, so the carryover is $4,789 into this one.
All right, I'm on the number 9. I'm a dashing leader here in race number 7. I like the connections of this one. Francisco Calderon, Leon Bard. I think these guys can do well together. 300 yards is what this horse is going to run tonight. Has run the 300-yard distance one time, finished third in that race. This horse has had some starts in 2020, coming at a bigger level. I mean, a couple allowance races, a couple Derby trials. I mean, is in tonight for the $5,000 tag. So just by looking at those past races, you would think that this horse would be able to compete in this $5,000 claiming race right here. So that's why I've got the 9 on top. I got the number 12, Voodoo Cartel, as my second choice. This is a horse that has a win and a second at this distance. So there's something to be said for that. There was a win that came 3 starts back. That was the one that was at this 300-yard distance. That was in a maiden race. It's going to be down in here for the $5,000 tag. Was in for the $10,000 tag last time. So we'll see how Voodoo Cartel does. The 12 holes not too bad of a place to be. I mean, we've seen some horses win out there. So I'll do like Voodoo Cartel. That's my second choice. And then I'll go with the number 7 horse. I'm a macho man for my third pick here. I mean, last time out finished 11th in that race. Was beaten by 3 lengths, so that 11 looks a lot worse than it probably was. 2 starts back, I mean, a 4th just by half a length. And then you go back to earlier this year, this horse did pick up a win at the $7,500 non-winners of 2 level. So we'll see. The horse ended up being disqualified for that one. But I don't know what happened in that race. I didn't watch it, but the horse still crossed the finish line first. Does get that asterisk right there, but I think I'm a macho man. We'll see what this horse can do for Angel Sanchez tonight.
Well, you talk about a horse drawing better. I mean, I'm a macho man. Last time I had the 11 hole, and I went back and rewatched that race too, and he showed brief speed and then retreated, but he also raced very wide, and he was on the untreated part of the track. I mean, he was on the part of the track that, the truck drives up and down to go back and forth to the gate on. Now he's drawn in the 7 hole, much better part of the track. So he figures to improve. That said, I got him 4th. Like you, I'm a dashing leader. I think this is a very good level. I like this horse on the drop. Kiss My Lassie set a track record in that race that he comes out of. Now he was well beaten in it. And that was a really, really fast race on Dash for Cash Futurity night. And wasn't disgraced, although he ran last. It's weird to say that, but that race set a track record, albeit with a tailwind. But I'm going to give him a shot here. Voodoo Cartel, to me, he could theoretically be the best in here. And like you, I agree. You can win from the 12 hole. I just think you have to really be good. I mean, you almost have to be an SS Classy Jess or a Isa Jess Jumpin' type who's in tomorrow to win from the 12 hole. But he could do it. But I went 9, 12, 3. Fayodale ran a really nice race last time, so I'll put him 3rd. On to the 8th. Another challenging race. Non-winners of a race other than or non-winners of 2. An allowance event going 3:30.
Yeah, I went with the horse on the outside again, 12, Carter's Angel. Another one from the far outside. This horse had a win 2 starts back at Ruidoso Downs. That was at 350. We're running 330 here tonight, where this horse also has a win at the distance and a 3rd from 3 starts. Has a solid 3rd here at Lone Star Park as well in her lifetime. Horse has done pretty good in 2020. Has a win and a 2nd. So I think Carter's Angel can get the job done here at 330 yards. Second selection is going to be your number 4 in Poncho's First Kiss. This is a horse that ran a solid race last time out against non-winners of 2, an allowance company. Finished 3rd in that race just by a head, so was right there with them. That was at this 330 yards. The horse has a couple starts here at Lone Star, a 2nd and a 3rd to show for it. So I don't know. I think Poncho's First Kiss, there's a lot of things that are lining up. Record at the distance, record at Lone Star Park. Having a solid race last time out. I think there's something to be said for all that So I do have the 4 Poncho's First Kiss as my second choice. And then I went with the number 10 horse and 7 Grands as my third selection. She was in one of the trials for the All-American Derby last time out, ran second in that trial. Was beaten by a next out winner, Ratification. So, I mean, something to be said for that, for a horse that wins the next time out after you get beat, especially by not that. I mean, 3 starts back, I mean, this horse picked up a win out at Rio Dosa Downs. That was back in June. So, I mean, a win in the second, fairly recent, beat by a next out winner last time out. I think number 10, 7 Grands, you got to take a look at this horse here in race number 8.
Oh, I agree. Ratification won that trial for the All-American Oaks by 5 lengths, which is almost inconceivable in a straight quarter horse race. But Ratification is an incredible filly, and 7 Grands was a length clear of the third place finisher. I think this is a good level for her. I used her second. I went with the 11 Colonel Chamberlain on top. This horse ran in that Ruidoso maiden stake back in June and qualified for it, ran 7th. I just think that the drop is really going to help him. I mean, you say drop. I think he's been facing some really nice horses like Hot Sempting and that bunch. Very wide open race, though. I'm suggesting a pick 3 ticket for TVG tonight, and I mean, I think I have about 7 of them in here. So I took Colonel Chamberlain over 7 Grands with Poncho's First Kiss, but I'd also use RFA Political Cookie, the 6. I'd use the 3 Valiant Cash. I think the 9 Secret Passenger could win right back off a maiden win, and I like Carter's Angel as well. Carter's Angel might scare me as much as any because of the speed factor, and it's a very good distance. All right, on to the 9th. We got a wild one here. Not only are these 110-yard races wild in and of themselves, but this field is just throw a blanket over them.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun. I always love these real short races. 110 yards is a lot of fun right here. I mean, of course, quarter horse racing, it's all about the break, but this makes it even more important here to get out of that gate well. One of them I think is going to do it is your number 6 horse, My Famous Wagon. This horse seems to shoot out of the gate like a rocket more often than not. Last few races have both been 400 yards, and has done pretty well in both of those, but now we're going to shorten it up. This horse has never run anything this short, I don't think, so with the way that this horse comes out of the gate and is able to be at the front of the race most of the way through it, I think that My Famous Wagon has a shot here at 110. Second choice is going to be the horse that's on the rail, JLS T. Cuz Jr. This is another horse that can get out pretty well. I mean, this horse has been running in some shorter races. The last 2 both came with a 220-yard distance at Delta Downs. Now, the horse, as the race got longer, they ended up gaining on him. So, I mean, if you look at the PPs right there in that call, I mean, you'll see the horse was just, a neck off, a head off, or head in front in those last 2 races. But then as it came down to the end, the horse ended up getting beat by 3/4 in both of those. So I think the shorter race here is going to sit well for JLS T. Cuz Jr. And then I've got Dickie Bob in there as well. This is another horse that can get out of that gate quick. This horse was at Prairie Meadows and Canterbury before coming here this year. Ran in some stakes races up there, finished in front, a couple of those at Canterbury. We do see some horses from Minnesota come down here every now and then, not a whole bunch of them. Right. But I think Dickie Bob, this could be a real good spot for this 110-yard race for this horse.
Yeah, I took him. I took him on top in here. I thought his last race was really good. He was favored in a 110-yard allowance race there at Prairie. Jason Olmstead, the trainer, he has a string here now, and I think that's why we're seeing more horses from the upper Midwest, because that's where he spends the summer. This horse is quick. He seems to like the shorter races. This is all just about who gets out well and who fires the first, little bit of it. I took him over My Famous Wagon, who I think is the one to beat in here. The 8 Crash Course, very fast, comes out of a really good race. One thing I've noticed about these and the limited number that we've run, it's good to focus on the quick breakers and the speedy ones, but sometimes the classier horses, the ones that have been running at better levels, somehow, even though the race is only about a third of the length of the normal race, sometimes those horses end up showing their class. Let's go ahead and do a video now. We're up to the 10th. $10,000 claimer, going 250 yards. We're going to watch the number 1 horse here, Una Mas Stoli. I'm not picking this horse on top today But Una Mastoli in this race shows really good speed here. Gets out of there very well, right up with the line, and just digs in and just wins from the inside. That was a really nice race back on September 26th here for non-winners of 2. Now steps up into open company. Big step up for her. I didn't take her on top. I took instead the 8 Open de Cap. Showed a little bit of speed last time out in a much, much tougher race. 3 Blue Coronas, the one that won that race. Just looked like a world beater in that race and is on a really nice streak right now. And just to compete with him for a little while is something. So I'm going to take Open de Cap in an upset over Una Mastoli with Elite Connection on the drop third. Magna Moon's going to take a lot of money here. I just wonder if 250's maybe a little short for him, so I'm going to try to beat him.
Yeah, Magna Moon, I mean, he's going to take some money. He's going to take some of my money, too. 2 wins in a row for this horse. You know, I like horses that win. I know what you're saying about that shortened distance. It's always kind of a question there. But, I mean, the horse did pick up a win last time out, which was out here on our track. So we'll see what happens with Magna Moon. And then the 11 Elite Connection, you talked about a class drop for that one there. When you look at Rolando Almanza, the trainer, and Ricardo Garza Cruz, the jockey, they've teamed up for quite a few wins, and it seems like their wins this year, they've been paying double digits. So always something to look for when those guys, you know, team up and have a horse that looks like it could compete fairly well in a race like Elite Connection can. I wouldn't be scared to throw a couple dollars on the number 11 as well.
So you go 1, 11,
7. Yeah, I got Una Mastoli as my third selection here.
You know, she's going to be interesting. I don't know if she's good enough to take on these older horses. She's just a 3-year-old coming out of a non-winners of 2 claimer, but that's why I took her second, just throwing her in there. We'll see if Magna Moon runs his race again. You know, he might be gone, but, you know, I think he's facing a little better bunch than he has before. Now, on to the 11th and final. Scratch the 9, Sorrel Sky. Texas-bred maidens here, 3 and up.
That's nice. We got through almost that whole 11-race car with no scratches, right? I mean,
yeah, it's amazing.
That was the one, so must be a fun. They must be looking forward to running tonight.
Let's hope we don't get inundated with them when we get upstairs.
Yeah, I got the 6 Just Pleasure as my top choice here. This is a horse that's got one of those little stars last time. Was elevated to 3rd place in that race. That came out here on the 12th of September. That was a maiden race, straight up maiden race. That was at 400 yards, so they're going to drop down to 350. Where the Just Pleasure made his debut was at this 350 and ran second in that race by half a length. That was last year at Retama, but this horse has one start since a layoff from November of last year at Lone Star Park. I like the horses on their second start after a layoff. That's why I'm picking Just Pleasure. Second choice will be the number 2 horse, 106. He's probably going to go off as the favorite here in this race. You know, this horse ran a few times out at Ruidoso Downs this year in those Derby trials. Did okay in some of those. Ran into that same trial that we were talking about a horse earlier, I think, with Ratification in there. But, you know, 106, this horse can be good. Doesn't have that win yet. That's why, you know, he's running here against other maidens. But this could be the chance that he breaks out there and hits that finish line first. I will have the horse in my ticket. And then I went with the number 4 in Locomotive as my third selection here. You know, this horse has had some time off since June, but if you take a look at all those races that this horse has had before then, that's June of last year, as a matter of fact, all those races in 2019 were fairly solid. I mean, won almost $20,000 in those races. You know, you got to take a look at Locomotive there, even though this horse has had some time off.
Yeah, that's a long time off, but, you know, I have him second as well. He made the Old South Futurity last year. He was competitive with a Painted Dynasty and Love the Way You Run. We've seen them out here, and they've run well. Of course, that was, you know, well over a year ago. We'll see how he goes in his comeback. I went chalky here and took 106. I think he's going to be a pretty short price. A big question mark, though, with him is just, will he get out of there okay? And, you know, this race isn't like that 110-yarder. It's 350, but you can lose the race in the break. And even at 350, and he's just had so much start trouble, bumped, whatever, stumbled. If he gets a clean break, I think he's best. So I went with him over Locomotive and Just Pleasure as a third pick. I think Just Pleasure gets a nice distance in his second start off the layoff. He'd been or at least in his comeback race, he went longer. Now he gets to shorten up 50 yards. And I think the 8 My Tempted Heart is worth a little bit of a look. Maybe watch the tote action on her. I have her as a 4th pick. I thought her race on September 26th, while it wasn't particularly attractive, but they bet her down to 9-2 in 2 consecutive races. So somebody's liked something about her, even though the results haven't been there. All right. Well, we will see you throughout the course of the evening on your previews. And so good luck with that.
All right, I'll be outside where it's nice and cool this evening.
That's right. I will be upstairs, ensconced inside. Meanwhile, thanks a lot for looking in, and good luck tonight.